It's Tuesday in South Carolina. Welcome to the Touchdowns 5 Points podcast, presented by Harrison Williamson Cross Country Mortgage. We are the Dugas brothers. He is Thomas. I am Beck. Thank you, everyone who listens to this podcast or watches. Please go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Go on social media, follow us, interact with us wherever you watch or listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Please like, subscribe, interact with us. We love to hear fan feedback and what y'all are wanting us to talk about, so we can and then engage with some of your comments and talk about it on the show. So appreciate everyone who follows, watches, or listens. And in the spirit of that, I think Thomas has some shout outs.
I do. Henry was the right guy to start off the shout outs with, because he apparently has some buddies that also follow the pod and also are patrons of Touchdowns. So this week we're going to shout out Cooper and Jackson. And if you are a listener of the Touchdowns 5 Points podcast and you come in and buy a beer, let me know that you're a listener, and I will continue to shout out the people that are supporting me both, in Columbia at the bar and supporting this podcast by listening. So I appreciate you. I appreciate Jackson and Cooper.
Jackson and Cooper, hell yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. Appreciate that. And you also, Thomas, partnered up with 1801 Media. Sounds like there was some football players down at Touchdowns cooking some things up in the kitchen. Tell us a little bit about that experience and the behind the scenes, and maybe is there more to come with some of the, because I'm pretty sure 1801 Media is a university affiliated media group where it allows players to have podcasts and do content and things like that. So tell us more about that collaboration.
Yes. The way that I understand it is that 1801 Media is a way for South Carolina players to fulfill NIL requirements. We can't just give these players money. There has to be an exchange. And so 1801 Media provides an opportunity for players to create and participate in content which satisfies their, requirements and ability to get paid. But on top of that, if 1801 Media is able to, produce a platform that is getting a ton of traction online, just like any other media platform, you can generate additional revenue for NIL by selling ads off of their viewership, etc. We had some players come down to Touchdowns a few Sundays ago, and basically we gave them a tutorial on how to make our Philly cheesesteak, which is our staple menu item, and then they actually made their own and did a taste test. And then I participated in a Gamecock trivia with one of the players. I got 5 out of 6 correct, although the one I got wrong, I believe, was a technicality. The question was, when did South Carolina join the SEC? The answer is 1991. The answer that I gave was 1992, because that was our first football season, and that is kind of how I had remembered it in my head. So, I asked for an asterisk when they put that video out that our first football season was in 1992, but also too, I really hope they doctor that video up and kind of edit around. No matter how old I get, I can't help but not kind of fanboy and just be nervous around. I'm 10 years older than these guys, and I just didn't play that whole interaction as cool as I would have liked to. And I do believe that I kind of came off like a huge dork. But from what they have put out so far, you know, they are clearly editing it a lot, and hopefully what they're able to put out is a cool video for Gamecock fans to enjoy, both from an 1801 media standpoint and just more exposure for touchdowns. But it's a cool concept. I'm going to continue to work with 1801 media whenever they ask me to, in whatever capacity. But we were the first kind of food review that they've done. I think they're going to try and make that a series. But yeah, I mean, the end goal, in my opinion, is that 1801 media becomes big enough that they actually start generating substantial revenue, to just so it kind of creates like a flywheel for NIL. We sign players to NIL deals. They produce content for 1801 media. The content generates money, and we can continue to sign more better players and produce more content for Gamecock fans.
Yeah, I think it's a valuable tool for the players as well, that nowadays players of all sports and leagues are podcasting and giving their 2 cents into things. And so it's good training for these players that maybe want to get into media following their careers, or going into media after their playing days. And it's beneficial all the time. I mean, it's going to be hard for them with competition like us, when we're sucking in all the fan and revenue dollars, but we'll be giving those dollars back to the program as well. But it's good training for these guys. They didn't go to the School of Hard Knocks on podcasting like you and I, Thomas. We're just flying by the seat of our pants. So good on them. For the guys that get into it, I think, like you said, there's multiple reasons for why they are doing it, but I definitely think some of those guys that want to get into media, it's going to be a great experience for them, and good training coming out of school. Let's talk Gamecock football recruiting. Big commitment announcement tomorrow. Josh Dobson from Huff High School there in Cornelius, originally from Fort Mill, but he's going to be playing his senior year at Huff. This guy's a stud. He's a top 10 player in the country. He could be the crown jewel of the class, as Thomas has called him. Should he commit to us? He's a guy that when you see his name on a commitment list, you can go attract other players to play around him. And he's, for all intents and purposes, an in-state guy. He grew up in South Carolina, despite transferring to play his last season in North Carolina. You would consider this guy an in-state kid. This is a kid we need to get. And a huge announcement tomorrow. It's coming down between us, A&M, and Michigan. I've heard and seen that Auburn was the 4th team, but they've kind of fallen out of the race. So I think it's a three-team race for his commitment. So eyes will be on that commitment tomorrow. Another guy who's committing Friday is offensive lineman Nate Carson. He's from Irmo, right up the road in Columbia, in our backyard. Another guy, we just need to secure the commitment from this guy. Would be a huge boost to the O-line room, and also, again, just maintaining the talent in state, so pivotal in these. It's always been. We've always been. The program's been at our best when we've been able to recruit in-state talent and keep it home, i.e., the golden years of the Spurrier era. So, talk about these two guys, Thomas, committing this week. We'll dive into a couple other guys that have recently committed, but these guys have announcements coming up. So, what are your thoughts? What do you think the chances are we land one or both of these guys?
Yeah. So, from everything that I have been able to gather on Dobson, I think he was originally crystal balled to A&M by Wiltfong. But of course, in classic Wiltfong fashion, instead of just I don't know why anyone would put any weight into any of his crystal balls, because whenever he's about to get one wrong, he just changes it like in the 12th hour, So I think he's already kind of started to backtrack on that A&M crystal ball. I don't, the article he put out was behind a paywall, so I didn't read it, nor do I know if he is now leaning towards us or Michigan. But when you look at A&M's class, I mean, they are already so stacked. And I'm not saying that they can't afford him, because I don't know that there is a limit or a cap to what they can or are willing to spend on recruiting. But it does kind of feel like we were able to make a pretty competitive offer at this point, and might be able to get Dobson to stay home. I agree with you. I consider him to be an in-state prospect, even though he's playing his senior season in North Carolina. I really want this kid. I think that Vicari and Judge are going to have great years, and I think they're both going to declare. And so I think the corner room is going to be wide open next year. So getting a kid like this, that's a really high profile kid, he might potentially be able to come in and play really, really early on. And that's definitely, those are the kids you want to try and grab out of high school and then just keep them on the roster. When it comes to Nate Carson, he's an Irmo product. I want to keep all the best players in South Carolina here. We have gotten fewer in-state guys in this class than we have had for the past few. So just from an optics standpoint, I think it's really important for us to get Nate Carson and Josh Dobson. If we land both these guys, our class, which is currently, in the high 50s on 247, jumps all the way up to 29 or 30, depending on what other teams do over the course of this next week. So it puts us back in striking position at the top 25, which really doesn't matter until December. I have to remind Spence Taylor of that all the time. It's the middle of summer. Class rankings don't matter until the kids sign. These are just verbal commits. But yeah, you want to see the number a little bit closer to the top 25 than we are right now, and landing these kids would go a long way to doing that. But then also, I just want to throw out there, we're coming off a 4-8 season. And that is that's an obvious thing to say. I think every South Carolina fan that cares about football knows what our record was last year, and that it's probably negatively impacting us on the recruiting trail. But if you have any, consternation about where we're ranked, just keep that in the back of your mind, that we're probably fighting an uphill battle on a lot of these recruitments because of how we played last year. So we let's lock these kids down. I think we have a couple more announcements before the season starts, and hopefully we get a few more in the boat. But coming out and winning those first 3 games, and then really winning 5 or 6 of our first 7 would go a long way to being able to close this class strong in December. I think we just need to win games.
Yeah, for sure. And building momentum. These guys, Nate Carson and Josh Dobson, could be added to a list of recent commitments. James Ross out of Ridgeview High School in Columbia, Jackson Ross out of Hammond School, in Columbia, Kelvin Millington from North Oconee in Bogart, Georgia. He actually committed at the Nike camp or whatever, and actually flashed up a Nike jersey at his commitment, which we're about to talk about. And then also Ivion Lewis from Richmond, Virginia. He's a receiver and also was a Kentucky commit. So anytime you can pull a recruit away from a conference rival, Kentucky, I don't care for too much. Stoops, it's always fun to beat them on the recruiting trail, beat them on the field. So these guys, where we weren't seeing momentum in our recruiting class, we've picked up a little bit, and Nate Carson and Josh Dobson could be, the icing on a sweet little run right here that we've had the last few weeks this summer. And then we can kind of get into fall camp. And like you said, we have to start winning games and showing some positive things in order to win over some of these other guys to round out the class, because we are coming off 4-8. 4-8 not only scares players from a competitive standpoint, but it also, fans aren't as generous coming off a 4-8 season. It's hard to fund things in today's world already. And so when you have an underperforming team, people are more, are less likely to stroke checks and really commit in that regard as well. So a lot of things at play, but hopefully a little bit of momentum. And we'll be talking about a nice round, a nice little string of commitments on our next episode, hopefully after these announcements this week.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. We know that Stoops is no longer the head coach at Kentucky. I think Beck was just touching on that because of the comments he made a couple of years ago, that had developed into more of a rivalry than it had been in the past. Beck and I grew up at a time where we really dominated Kentucky, and we have kind of returned to doing so. So I think now that game has become a little bit less competitive, the animosity will slowly kind of fade away. But they were a nice little rival of ours there for a couple of years, and I think it meant more to people than it had in the past.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. I know, Stein, Coach Stein is there in his first season at Kentucky, so that was a small mishap on my part. That I still hate Stoops, and he created a hatred for Kentucky that never existed. You're right, because that was Kentucky and Vanderbilt were the only two programs it seemed we had a holdover, and then Stoops started beating us and talking shit, and really made me and other South Carolina fans hate Kentucky. But let's talk style. I got my Under Armour on. It'll be the last time I wear it, probably. I love your throwback gear.
Yeah, this is a little vintage piece.
That's cool. But it's Nike, man. We've been waiting for this. I don't know. I mean, I just got to shout out my buddy Chandler Watts. He sent me a text the other night, and all he said was, this was last night, he said 2 more sleeps and our lives change forever. So shout out to Chandler. He's been wanting Nike forever, and he's finally getting his wish. I mean, this news on July 1st, tomorrow, I mean, it's bigger than – I think people are going to be more excited tomorrow than they will after the Kent State and Towson wins. Like, this is big news for a lot of people in Gamecock Nation. I love it. I think there's a lot of places for those that are in Columbia. There's a lot of places locally that you can go and get the Nike gear first thing. So support those small businesses there in the Columbia region. But yeah, I think this is what we've all been waiting for. There is so much good that comes from this. I think it helps recruiting. I think Nike has cooler gear for the fans. I think, well, TBD, there are some rumors swirling on the Twitter sphere that the jerseys are going to suck. So that's no good. So I will be interested to see how the actual jerseys look. But Nike, it has a much better brand than Under Armour. I don't know how Under Armour is still even doing what their stock's been tanked from a business perspective. Under Armour's just been downward trending, and it's good to get out of this deal. I think one of the things that we do want to highlight is Under Armour was definitely giving the program more cash. I think our Under Armour deal, the most recent one we signed, included like $26 million of cash, and this Nike deal only is $4 million of cash. But I just think the brand goes way beyond the brand value goes way beyond what we would get in cash. Thomas, I remember you telling a story. You've been bartending in 5 Points for a long time, and I think it was some guys that either worked with you at Bird Dog or were regulars at Bird Dog, and they had been in the Gamecock baseball program at its peak when we were winning under Ray Tanner. And one of the comments they made is, we would be even better because we're losing some players simply because we're an Under Armour school versus a Nike school.
Yes. So early on in my 5 Points career, I had the opportunity to work alongside Forrest Kumas. He was a pitcher on the national championship team. And that was from him. He said that, as you know, because that was we went to 3 straight finals. Like, we won 2 of them. Like, you can't have more success on the field than we were having at that time, and we were still being dragged down by the fact that we were Under Armour in terms of like recruiting. Like, when it was really, really close with a kid, like sometimes that was the link. If most of everything else is equal and your top 2 teams, one of them's Under Armour, one of them's Nike, that could be a reason to go somewhere else. So I do think that this is definitely going to help recruiting across all sports. I agree with you that even though we're receiving less cash in this deal, the brand power kind of outweighs it. And I think that, Gamecock fans are going to be buying this stuff feverishly. So there will at least be like a significant pop in the money generated from apparel for the university for the first few years, I would imagine. In terms of the jerseys, like there's rumors that they didn't get the garnet color correct. I've never been a huge jersey guy. I don't get too twisted up about that stuff. In my opinion, I wish we would just stick to white helmets, garnet jersey, white pants, and that just be our home combo. And then I love the Stormtrooper look, and probably just fond memories of that 2012 game at Clemson. But, unless a team has white as one of their primary colors and we can't wear the Stormtrooper on the road, I would like the Stormtrooper to be our every time road combo. Like, I know that we actually have black as a color, so it makes more sense for us to have a black jersey than all these other teams that just do it. But, wear black in October at home for whoever we're playing on Halloween, if we have a home game on Halloween. Tennessee's not a permanent opponent anymore, so like I think it would have been cool to wear black against them every year, but we don't play them every year anymore. But yeah, for the most part, like I don't care that much about jerseys or combos. I'm very excited to have some Nike game day stuff. I'm going to keep a lot of my, dry fit team apparel T-shirts from when I was working for the team, just because I just use them to work out in, and there's no reason to just throw those away. But I will be getting some Nike game days for sure.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be – you're right. I think people are going to be buying this stuff like gangbusters, and I am curious about the jerseys. Yeah, everyone's got an opinion on the jerseys, what the combination should be. Should we tinker with – I don't like how we try all these different I am down with you. Like, we should pick a few. I like a few more than you. I like the all black. I like the garnet black white, old school, from the 80s. I mean, I like that look.
I like when the helmet matches the pants. I think you can tinker with it a lot of different ways. I think the helmet should match the pants. I think our best helmet is the white helmet. And so I think we should really – all black is probably the only combo that I think looks better or as good as a white helmet and white pants. And whether it's a white jersey, a garnet jersey, or a black jersey, I think it's hard to beat white helmet, white pants. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, I like I'm with you, because I like for the road, I like garnet helmet, white jersey, garnet pants. And that's gets you matching helmet and pants. That's also an old school combo. I mean, I think our best like new school combo is just big game. I mean, I liked big game garnet too. And maybe that's just because we always seem to win in those.
Right. So like big game garnet was something that Spurrier kind of popularized. And yes, we did win a lot of good games or big games in that combo. But I don't think that looks good. I'm not going to hate on big game garnet because we won, but like that would be like I can think of 10 other combinations that I think look better than all.
Better than that. Yeah, this is the debate that could – Ross, clip this. What's your favorite – Gamecock fans out there, what is your favorite jersey combination of all time? Let's hear from the fans on that. I'd be interested to hear what the fans think.
I'll go ahead and submit Stormtroopers for my favorite combo, and I will submit white, garnet, white as our permanent home combo.
I like white, garnet, white for home. My favorite – dude, I almost like, but this was pre Under Armour. This was Russell. I mean the Black Magic when we came out all black in 2004 against Georgia when we had Russell, and it wasn't like it was like actual black. It wasn't the matte black. It was just like black from head to toe.
Yeah.
That game against Georgia, Co Simpson, pick six.
I can see the helmet in my head because of Co Simpson.
Yeah, like that helmet was better. I think the new age, like matte black, isn't as cool to me as what those were.
Yes.
But let's hear it from Gamecock fans. What, Nike's coming. We got Nike, so favorite jersey combo for the Gamecocks. Let's hear it in the comments from Gamecock fans. But yeah, go get your Nike stuff. Local Columbia stores are selling Nike gear. They're prepared. So please go support the local Columbia stores that are selling Nike gear. I hope some of the – I don't know where I'm going to get some in Greenville. I'll probably just I might need you to get me some, Thomas. But we'll figure that out. But I definitely ain't ordering it on Amazon or anything like that. But let's shift over to Gamecock baseball. Just got to keep talking. I keep saying we're not going to talk about baseball, but this man Kevin Schnall is just still rolling, bro. Like over the last, let me run through the list of commits. Many of which are Wake Forest players. We've added Wake Forest hitting coach Bill Salento to the staff recently, but let's walk through this list of guys that we've added. Shortstop J.D. Stein from Wake Forest, pitcher Jordan Stevens from Georgia, Ryan Brennicky from Wake Forest. He's a pitcher. Outfielder / first baseman Luke Costello, also from Wake Forest. Then we got 4 pitchers: Carter Harrington from Charleston, Miguel Hugas from Mercer, Andrew Koshy from Maryland. Brandon Stone is on this list. That's a retention to the roster. He's sticking around. And then Ethan Sutton from USF. Then we also added outfielder Bristol Carter from Auburn and DH first baseman Garrett Michael from Arizona State. I mean, just a slew of guys, and these aren't scrubs. These are solid players. I really think this roster is going to be flipped. It's also worth noting that projected first-round pick and now former Coastal Carolina pitcher Cameron Flukie has entered the transfer portal. Many think he's still just going to go pro because he's a first-round pick, but someone to keep an eye on who would be –
He has the no-contact tag on. That is worth stating because typically if you have a no-contact tag on when you go in, it's because you already know where you're going. And, logic would –
right, because it's like if you're going to the draft, why even entertain the portal?
I'm saying, there's reasons why he would.
Is he entertaining the portal and then he's going to see what, he's going to maybe talk to Kevin Schnall, see what he can get, and then decide he wants to go.
Here's my read on it. He doesn't know for sure if he's going to go pro, but he knows he doesn't want to spend his last year in college at Coastal without Schnall. So he's going into the portal with a no-contact tag on because he knows he's coming here, and then he could still go pro after the fact, but he's definitely not going to not go pro and be at Coastal. That's how I view it. But, if he were going into the portal with the no-contact tag off, then he'd be going into the portal to test the market and he could be going anywhere. But because he has the no contact tag on, he knows where he's going already, which I would assume is us. That's how I break that down.
Well, and let's hope you're right, and let's hope he doesn't go to the draft and he pitches for us next year. So he would be the best pitcher on our team and would really make our rotation formidable. Last thing to note, Connor Schaus from Texas Tech and Georgia Tech will visit the Gamecocks this week and could be a difference-making type of player if he commits. So it really, Kevin Schnall ain't messing around, and I think he wants us to place expectations on him to make a run in the NCAA tournament next year. I don't think he wants low expectations. I think he immediately wants Gamecock fans believing that we were going to be in the – I mean, if you look at Oklahoma, who just won the national championship, they went under 500 in the SEC. They didn't win a game in Hoover. I mean, it can be – the depth of the league is so strong. I think you just have to – we have to perform to the middle of the pack in the SEC. I'm not saying that should be our expectation, but you just need to perform to the middle of the pack in the SEC and get in the tournament and see what you can do. Like, that's what is just so frustrating about Paul, and like, we just haven't even given ourselves a chance to get hot or make a run. Baseball's so weird. Like, it's so weird. I think upsets are more likely to happen in baseball than in basketball or football. And you can get hot, especially in a double elimination type scenario where you can have your ones, it's not like football or basketball where you're knocked out if you have a bad night. Like, you can rebound like Oklahoma did. They were on their last, they lost to Georgia Tech, and then they were losing like 7-2 in the elimination game. They come back and win it and just go on a tear and don't really lose until late in the College World Series. And by that time, they were just humming.
Right. Well, I mean, in baseball, you can just have a pitcher just take over a game. Like, when we made that run because of Roth, like, how many innings going into that game were we expecting to get out of Roth? Like 2 or 3?
Yeah.
And then he pitches a complete game. He completely, like, when you have something like that happen, not only did we get the win, all of our other arms got to rest, and it shifted the momentum and strength of our bullpen and like our arms back on in our favor. So I'm not saying that individual players can't take over a football or a basketball game, but in baseball, and especially in college baseball, like, if you have a kid that just locks in, like, a pitcher can win a game, steal a game by himself.
No, for sure. Yeah, Kevin Schnall, I mean, again, I think we're going to stop talking about him because the portal is closing. There might be a few that trickle in news-wise, but shout out to Kevin Schnall for a hell of a first few weeks on the job, and I think he's brought the juice back to South Carolina baseball, and I think people are going to be fired up next spring for this team.
And to that point, we need to give Donati some flowers too. People were really grilling that man 6 months ago, and he made a great hire. We're switching to Nike. So I think that he has started to push the athletic department back in the right direction. And hopefully it is only up from here.
Yeah, he's still got some landmines to navigate with the Willie B renovation, the upcoming football season. Hopefully Shane Beamer will make his job easy. And then obviously we'll see what happens with Lamont too. So a great deal of – we talk about momentum all the time. We were just talking about it on the recruiting trail. But a good deal of momentum for Donati with this Kevin Schnall hire. We're going to see the first phase of the Willie B renovation this upcoming season. Hopefully the teams produce on the field and on the court so that he doesn't have to suffer too much in a decision-making process on head coaches for those two major sports. But yeah, shout out to Donati. He got the Kevin Schnall deal done. It was what we needed, and Kevin Schnall is kicking butt out there so far with the staff he's assembled and the team he's putting together. Final miscellaneous note, we had 3 former Gamecocks men's tennis players over in London at Wimbledon competing this week. So shout out to Paul Jubb, Toby Samuel, and Francisco Cerundolo. Francisco. But these guys are competing at Wimbledon. I believe all of them have been eliminated from the tournament, but the fact that they're there shows that they're on the rise, and we need some guys. It's cool to see Gamecocks represented at Wimbledon, and even though these guys got eliminated, wishing them luck in their tennis careers, and hopefully see them playing at Wimbledon representing the Gamecocks for years to come. But that's about a wrap on this episode, Thomas. We're so close and nearing to football season. Football preseason camp is about a month away. Just got to get through July. At least this year we have the World Cup. So if you're watching USA men's soccer, do it at Touchdowns. If you're in Colombia, they'll have the games on. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Interact with us. We'll get a clip out on Instagram and TikTok about the jerseys, about the Nike switch, see how y'all are feeling. Anything y'all want us to talk about, we'll talk about it. Just comment, whatever. So like, subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and we appreciate, again, everyone who listens, watches, interacts. Appreciate everyone who does. So that's going to be a wrap on this episode. As always, go Cox.
Go Cox.